Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 25th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good Sunday so far. I kind of wound up sleeping in, so got a little late start to the grocery store, but overall not too late. It was like, 10-ish or so. Like enough for it to be busy and me to be annoyed about it, but not so busy that it was completely dreadful. You know what I mean? So yeah, and we were pretty in and out, so that was good. We were still efficient. Let's see here. Didn't do much, kind of slept in, in terms of I took a nap yesterday. And then I wound up drinking way too much coffee as we kind of creep into the food corner here. I had a coffee before I went live yesterday. Then I had two coffees for dinner, which I will get to, or should I say Brenner. I wound up before dinner. I had a little snack before I took my nap. I had a plain bagel, but I turned it into this weird sandwich. And I say it's a weird sandwich because I initially started topping it with cream cheese, the strawberry cream cheese. And I was like, okay, cool, that's on there. And then I was like, you know what? That's not enough. And then I was like, I want a little meat with it, which is already weird. We got strawberry cream cheese and ham? That's where are we going with this? So then I was like, well, I guess we can kind of make it more of a sandwich, put some lettuce on. Then I was like, well, now it's a sandwich. You might as well dress it. So I put some mayo on, some mustard, a couple other fixings, yada, yada, yada. Next thing you know, I'm like, I have a whole bagel sandwich. So I put that in the air fryer. Comes out nice. It's yummy. It was good. Took my nap. Then I wake up. And this whole week, I've been kind of craving Waffle House. I don't know, it's just because I had IHOP. I kind of wanted to have now Waffle House to kind of balance it out, I guess. But we decided to scratch the itch. So I go around 7, 8 o'clock, which is apparently a good time for me where I live because there was no one there. I come in there, it was just the cooks and everything. So I proceed to order this big-ass order. I got a waffle, a BLT sandwich, an order of hash browns with cheese, jalapenos, and onions, and chili. So there was that. And then I had 2 biscuits. So it was a full little meal. Now, I gotta say, they kind of forgot, a couple of parts. I had to remind them, oh, I got this, I got that. Da, da, da. Chili was a little cold. But I will say, the service was good outside of that. Food was good. And the best part about it was economy wise, price wise, best meal I've had all year. Crazy. I just described all that food to you. It was $23.96. That's crazy. At IHOP, for example, I had 4 pancakes and 4 pieces of bacon for $22. That come on, dude. That does not add up. That's crazy. So I will definitely tip of my hat to Waffle House. Amazing order, awesome. And since I'm kind of handing out awards here, this week I finished the Kitchen Confidential book, the Anthony Bourdain book. That book was so good. It was so good. I was definitely giving high praises while I was reading it. Just amazing. I would definitely, if you're an Anthony Bourdain fan in any way, shape, or form, apparently he's an amazing writer on top of it. So check that shit out. R.I.P. I'll say now though, what am I reading? What I started reading after that. Hunter S. Thompson. Reading a book. He did a whole thing on Hell's Angels, which I guess that was probably a really big story that he broke or whatever. I don't know. It's definitely one of those things where it's I don't know if it's just me being older or whatever, but so far, it's definitely a good read. I'm enjoying it, but for some reason, it's making me like Hunter S. Thompson less now that I'm actually hearing, or reading his words, I should say. It's not him actually doing the audible or whatever, but hearing his words, reading his shit, it makes me go, oh yeah, this just feels oh, gonzo journalism, I guess. Like, I don't know. He just says words that I don't like hearing a lot. And then like his opinion maybe I don't agree with as much now that I'm actually like older, and I look at the Hells Angels differently than I did as I was like a younger kid. Like, oh yeah, cool Buckers. But like, now you look at the shit they did, I'm like, no, I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to be championing them. But I will say, no, we haven't even gotten to any news here, but I will say I like the fact that he is like someone who has like, I guess, journalistic chops, but then will actively criticize how these major, journalists, outlets were covering the Hells Angels and how more or less they helped make the Hells Angels by being so sensational. On that, I totally got and like understood and was like, oh yeah, that's cool that he called that shit out, pointed that out. Anyway, I know y'all didn't come to hear me talk about Hunter S. Thompson or Fear and Loathing and whatever. Let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll get into some news. Hopefully it sounds good. Really don't have too much to give you today, but at the same time, it's pretty heavy shit, as it often is. But you know the deal. You know the vibe. Anyway, let's do the startup, and we'll get into it. Oh, yeah. All right. From CNN. Israel launches preemptive strikes in Lebanon as Hezbollah fires back hundreds of rockets. The Israeli military launched what it called preemptive strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon as the Iran-backed militant group said it carried out its own attacks in response to the killing of a top commander. The overnight strikes are some of the most serious yet between Israel and Hezbollah, who have been exchanging fire for months. The hostilities have raised the specter of regional conflagration, prompting intense diplomatic efforts to de-escalate tensions. The IDF, or the Israel Defense Forces, said about 100 of its fighter jets struck and destroyed thousands of Hezbollah rocket launcher barrels. Across dozens of launch sites from Lebanon on Sunday. It followed these up with further attacks later in the day. Israel said it carried out the strikes in self-defense after identifying that Hezbollah was preparing to fire missiles and rockets toward Israeli territory. Hezbollah called Israel's description of its strike as preemptive as baseless. We removed a wider threat, probably also a future threat in some areas. IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari said Sunday. Soon after the raids, IDF said approximately 200 rockets had been launched from Lebanon towards Israel Sunday, with no reports of injury so far. Hezbollah said its first phase of the strikes against Israel ended with complete success, claiming it had launched 320 rockets and a barrage of drones towards Israel. So a bit of an update on the tit for tat. In terms of the aftermath, I wanted to highlight 2 people were killed in Israeli strikes on the village of At Tiri in Natibia in southern Lebanon, Lebanese health officials said. And a third was killed when a car was hit in the town of Qiyam. The Hezbollah-allied Shia group Amal movement also said one of its fighters was killed in Qiyam, but it's unclear if they are the same person. For the Lebanese group, Shakur's assassination was a change in the rules of engagement. Danny Sitchnowitz, a research fellow in the Iran program at the Institute of National Security Studies, or the INSS in Tel Aviv, said, which is a callback to Farhad Shakur. We covered his assassination by the IDF. So, that still hasn't actually come to fruition in terms of like actual retaliation. We've talked about a little bit of skirmish stuff here and there, but it seems with, the IDF, they're kind of just almost kicking it off with this preemptive strike. Of course, they're saying that, hey, we see that they're making these missiles, they're setting up these missiles against us. We want to get out ahead of it. So there you go. So that's the tale of the tape so far there. I wanted to give that update today. Let's see if there's anything else I really wanted to pull here. They talk about the ceasefire stuff, but that really feels like it's just talk and bluster. I don't know if that's just Israel saying, hey, we're playing ball, when really we all know that they're really fucking not. Or if it's even to appease us in America right now because we got our elections, and it's like, that sounds a little bit better that at least, hey, Israel's at the table, aren't they? Da 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 da. But I don't fucking know. It doesn't seem like that's really going anywhere. And plus, you have them at the table, quote unquote, but then they're also doing these quote unquote preemptive strikes. So it's crazy that they're able to do both at the same time there. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. From CBS News, suspect arrested in arson attack targeting synagogue in France. The fight against anti-Semitism is a constant battle. Okay, here we go. French police apprehended and detained the suspect behind the arson attack on a synagogue in a southwestern Mediterranean town that injured a police officer. The country's acting interior minister said early Sunday. 2 parked cars at the Beth Yaakov synagogue complex in the seaside resort of Le Grande Motte near Montpellier, sure I'm killing those, were set ablaze just after 8 a.m. local time on Saturday, the National Anti-Terrorism Prosecutor's Office said in a statement. Firefighters discovered additional fires at 2 entrances of the synagogue. A police officer who walked up to the site was injured after a propane gas tank in one of the vehicles exploded, the prosecutor's statement said. 5 people, including the rabbi who were present in the synagogue complex at the time of the attack, were unharmed, it added. So that's good. It's good that, overall, the damage was minimal. Yes, a cop was, injured, which that's a crazy way of setting up a bomb. Because I initially heard this, or I thought, maybe interpreted, maybe I got it wrong, I don't know, in my head, that this was a bombing. But I guess maybe that was the bombing, and they then maybe looking at the details were like, oh, this is a really crazy, crafty, quirky arson attempt where you have propane in a car and you're making all this fire and boom, boom, boom. I don't know. Just DIY Michael Bay movie? I don't fucking know, but it's fucked up, obviously. The alleged perpetrator of the arson attack on the synagogue has been arrested. Gerard Dermanin, the acting interior minister, said in a post on social media. He visited the site on Saturday afternoon along with acting Prime Minister Gabriel Attal and met with local officials at the synagogue staff. And we know why they say acting there, because technically he's not the prime minister, but he's like the caretaker prime minister we talked about in a previous episode. But, it's a thing. They got to say it a little funky. Little put a stank on it. Anyway, Dermanin also hailed the professional conduct of police forces and its elite intervention unit despite the gunfire during the operation. Yeah, they were real champs. Prosecutors were investigating the attack as an attempted assassination linked to a terrorist group and destruction of property with dangerous means, and a crime planned by a terrorist group with intent to cause harm. After an attack Saturday, Darmanin ordered police reinforcement to protect Jewish places of worship following what was clearly a criminal act. Increased protection has already been in place at some sites following a surge of anti-Semitism since the start of the Israel-Hamas war last year. We've definitely covered a few stories along the way on the podcast. Sadly, this is another one that we had to add. But there was this story that happened, and there's another terrorist act that also took place this weekend that I wanted to get into from NPR News. Man claiming to be behind Soligan knife attack turns himself in, German police say. A 26-year-old Syrian asylum seeker turned himself in to police, saying he was responsible for the Solingen knife attack that left 3 dead and 8 wounded at a festival marking the city's 650th anniversary, the German authorities announced early Sunday. Dusseldorf police said in a joint statement with the prosecutor's office that the man stated that he was responsible for the attack. This person's involvement in the crime is currently being intensively investigated, the statement said. The suspect is a Syrian citizen who had applied for asylum in Germany, police confirmed to the Associated Press. On Saturday, the Islamic State militant group claimed responsibility for the attack without providing evidence. The extremist group said on its news site that the attacker targeted Christians and that he carried out the assaults Friday night to avenge Muslims in Palestine and everywhere. The claim couldn't be independently verified. I was listening to the BBC, though, and they said that, like, more or less, ISIS has kind of gotten to this point where they kind of are, like, down to loosely bumper sticker any kind of, like, violence like this. It's like, hey, if it looks like us and, like, it was kind of done in our name, yeah, we did that shit. Like, they might have not directly corroborated with us or, like, one of our people, but, like, if they did it in our name, we're cool with it. Obviously, that's fucked up, but you do get it because at this point, they're like, yeah, we don't even want to field y'all fucking questions. Just assume it's us. Let's see here. Plus, in a way, I'm sure, like, obviously these motherfuckers are fucked up. I've said this before. Obviously terrorism fucking bad. But they move in a way that any kind of organization, any kind of body is going to move where it's like, hey, all press is kind of good press. Like, if they're carrying out these atrocities, then it's fine. Though, I will say you've definitely seen situations where it's like, oh, a bunch of kids died, da-da-da-da-da. And then maybe sometimes these places go, oh, we didn't do that. We didn't say that. Or they don't say anything at all. So that's also a thing kind of could take place. The attack comes amid debate over immigration ahead of regional elections next Sunday in Germany, Saxony, and Thuringia regions, where anti-immigration parties such as the Populist Alternative for Germany are expected to do well. In June, Chancellor Olaf Scholz vowed that the country would start deporting criminals from Afghanistan and Syria again after a knife attack by an Afghan immigrant left one police officer dead and 4 more people injured. Which is a shame that, like, this alt-right conservative energy always takes place and, like, this reactionary response happens after every one of these kind of incidents. And it's not fair, and it's not right to the people who are refugees, who are not criminal, who are not coming to your country to do anything wrong. They just wanted to get out of a bad situation and just work and live a life and have a family, just be normal, have, this country's so-and-so's dream, American dream, whatever. And essentially it's like, no, you're brown and you're scary to us, so we want you to go. And now a thing happened, and now we want to be able to say, hey, it's actually all of you guys. It's every single one of you. We have to make sure that, like, this never happens again, so you all have to go. And it's crazy that happens every single fucking time. And once again, like, it blows me out how similar you can be where, like, I often kind of think, like, oh, America is a very isolated kind of thing because we're just so big and, like, our shit is our own. But it's like, no, like, this is tale as old as time shit. Like, when a thing happens, a reactionary thing, like, there's a reactionary response to it, and people then decide to be like, yeah, we just want to now hate people who look different from us. We're going to use this as a political football instead of actually, like, doing something that's actually going to make real change that actually makes this a thing that doesn't happen as much, or happens less, instead they just say, hey, we're going to get rid of people who look different than us. That's an area we're going to latch on to here. So it's always unfortunate to hear that, happen. Obviously, though, condolences to the families, anyone involved in this kind of situation. Initially, though, I know I'm kind of just going to go into riffing. They thought this was like a 15-year-old and they arrested him in connection to it. And there was even witnesses saying that, hey, they saw the two of these people, the 26-year-old and this 15-year-old talking, and then, shit kind of got off, but then they said, okay, well, we're going to arrest the 15-year-old. So I don't know if there's any more suspects or anything like that. I'll definitely keep you posted in terms of any more updates. But let me pull one more thing here. Friday's attack plunged the city of Solingen into shock and grief, a city of about 160,000 residents near the bigger cities of Cologne and Dusseldorf. Solingen was holding a festival of diversity to celebrate its anniversary. The festival began Friday and was supposed to run through Sunday, with several stages in central streets offering attractions such as live music, cabaret, and acrobatics. The attack took place in front of one stage. The festival was canceled as police looked for clues in Cordon Square, or in the Cordon Square. Um, so yeah, that I think we're gonna go ahead and just rush ahead here. Move on to our last story, which is a bit less grim. I mean, it's diamonds, so I feel like we can just like, and if you're a mineral person, this is for you. You know what I mean? If you're a gym guy or gal, this is for you. This is your moment, right? This is low hassle, no drama. I'm gonna try not to be negative about it. It's just a big rock, right? A big cool rock. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our last break, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Sorry, my brain's melting a little bit. It's hot again. Hooey. All right. The last story comes from People Magazine. 2,492 carat diamond in Botswana is second largest to ever be found and biggest in over a century. So this thing is huge. I do have it in my thumbnail, so you can go ahead and look at that, see that. The largest diamond to be unearthed in more than a century has been found in Botswana, a country in southern Africa. Botswana's president, Magwitsi Masisi, and William Lamb, president and CEO of Lucarna Diamond Corp, the Canadian mining company that found the precious stone, announced the discovery on Thursday, August 22nd. In a press release, Lucara called the find remarkable, adding that the 2,492 carat diamond is one of the largest rough diamonds ever to be unearthed. The company found the jewel in Botswana's Karewe diamond mine by using X-ray transmission, or XRT, technology installed in 2017 to identify and preserve large, high-value diamonds. The diamond, which is yet to be named, is the second largest to be discovered since the 3,106 carat Colinian diamond was found 119 years ago in South Africa in 1905. CNN reported. Sorry. It is overwhelming, Masisi said, per Associated Press. I am lucky to have ever seen it in my time. I'm pretty sure I was listening to the audio of like the unveiling of it, and like the person put it in his hands, and like you literally hear him yelp like, ah! And I get it because it's such a big thing, and like I think the estimated value of this diamond, the last one that they had recorded like this, not the 3,001, but there was one that was significantly smaller, and that went for like 62 million or something to that effect. I'm rounding, I'm estimating, whatever. But they're thinking the rough estimate for this diamond is going to be in the hundreds of millions at the very least, maybe topping out at 160 million. So it's worth a lot. I guess I would say maybe the negative here is obviously this is a amazing find for Botswana, but I'd imagine because of the company involved and all the hands that are going to wind up touching it, is the country itself going to actually see the wealth of this diamond? Who knows? I don't know. I'm probably not the one to say, but I'm guessing probably not. Probably the fucking company that has all the extra cool technology and, quote unquote, made the mine possible is going to get probably the biggest cut of this shit, right? I don't know. That's probably neither here nor there. Once again, that is being a negative Nelly ass motherfucker. Lucara Diamond Corp. I'm sure they're farmed here, But let's see here. We'll go ahead and read this quote. This is history in the making. Nassim Lahari, Botswana's managing director for Lucara Diamond Corp, said, "I'm very proud. It is a product of Botswana. It sure shit is. I just hope to see that Botswana gets like the biggest cut of the riches there. Since it literally came from its land. I believe that it takes at least a billion of years to make a diamond. Let me just read it. Diamonds are formed when carbon atoms are squeezed together under high pressure, deep underground. Notes the Associated Press. Scientists say most diamonds are at least a billion years old, and some of them are more than 3 billion years old. I also hate that they talk about how some of the diamonds were used, like, from, like, one of the big diamond finds were used in, like, one of the, like, British family, like, crowns or whatever, or the family jewels, and I was like, ew, that's gross. So you gave them away, like, as a fucking gift or some shit? That's disgusting. I hate that. That bummed me out, too. But yeah, I feel like that's where I want to leave it. We'll go ahead and close it there. Like I said, diamonds are forever or whatever. Really big and shiny. Are you a jewelry person? I don't know. I always kind of fancy myself as not really, but then you look at my face and all the like body modifications or whatever, and it's like clearly you do like body jewelry. It's like, yeah, but I don't like diamonds and stuff. I don't really like that. And if I do, it's fake. It's a cubic zirconium. I'm not really that into the flash or pizzazz. When I was a kid, I was thinking about this the other day. I used to have the old dog tags, but like maybe this is like a very Midwestern millennial thing that I'm about to talk about here. But we would have these things where they were like dog tags, in the shape of dog tags, but you could get a face either like of yourself or your family. Almost like think of it as like a locket style situation, but like dog tags, and you could get it with like silver or gold, and it was just like this like laser printed thing on the dog tag. It was very cool to me as a child, as a teenager. I bought a few of these little chains and trinkets. Mostly, yes, of my face. I was one of those who got my face. I didn't have I didn't want to put nobody else on there, at least not to my memory. It was me doing like hard poses. But I had like cubic zirconium around one. It was gold, or obviously fake gold. But yeah, man, I was stunned with that shit. That shit was cool to me. Yeah, I don't know. Sound off in the comments or hit me up. Let me know if you had any cool jewelry or have any cool jewelry. Do you like diamonds? Are you a diamond guy, diamond gal, or maybe more of a ruby, sapphire? I don't know. I think I'm definitely more of a sapphire. It's my birthstone, so that's my thing. But also Pokemon Sapphire. Let's go, Kyogre, if you know. Hell yeah. Anyway, that's where I want to leave the episode for today. I won't shill to you. It's Sunday, no shill Sunday. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.